Thank you so much for being here this evening. It is my pleasure to welcome you to Mandarin Museum's third Thursday lecture. And my name is Brittany Cohill. I'm the Executive Director of Mandarin Museum. It's my pleasure to introduce Cynthia Anderson, Dr. Cynthia Anderson, Dr. Tracy Khona, and Rick Khona. And I've known Cynthia for quite a while because our sons went to school together. And I thought this would just be the most wonderful opportunity for you all to share the history of the Indian American community in Jacksonville with all of us. I know I first moved to Mandarin in 2002, and so we lived on Greenland Road, and I would drive Greenland Road up and down every day. And so I saw the evolution of the blank canvas, and then the sign went up for the Hindu Center, and then I saw it being built, and so ever since then I've been so curious. And I have so many Indian American friends, and so I'm just always wanting to learn more. One thing that you will hear Cynthia talk about this evening, and she asked me to share a little bit, she is going to be mentioning the Maple Leaf ship, which the Maple Leaf was a Union steamboat that was plying the St. Johns River during the U.S. Civil War, and it was sunk in the St. Johns just off Mandarin Point by a Confederate mine, and that happened April 1st, 1864. And in the 1980s, a group of divers led by Dr. Keith Holland, who's a local dentist and amateur adventurer and diver, sought out the wreckage, and he assembled a team, and they dove the Maple Leaf shipwreck and brought up thousands of artifacts from the bottom of the St. Johns River. The shipwreck still remains there today and is a National Historic Landmark. And so Cynthia will tell you a little bit about how they are related to that U.S. Civil War shipwreck site. But I'm going to go ahead and hand it on over to our presenters this evening.
So, thank you, everybody. We were really surprised and honored to be a part of this. As Brittany was saying, we go back for quite a while of knowing each other, and then she told us about this series that the Mandarin Center has been doing, talking about different immigrants who've been here in Mandarin and sharing their story. So she reached out to me for this over the summer, and as we started working on it, she asked, how long we had been in Jacksonville. And as we, as a family, started talking about it, we came to realize that we've been here now for 45 years, which really is quite a story of really what immigration has been like in the United States for about the last 40 or 50 years. And so this is our family. And we've called Mandarin our home for 30 years now. I've got my parents who are up here, then my two sisters, my two children, their spouses, their children, and this was taken in the backyard of our house.
One of the families still lost, looking for the place.
You want to go help him find it? Yeah. Okay. So we did heavy recruiting for tonight, and so we may still have somebody who's coming. So I'll just start here with who we are. So my parents, as I just said, Rick. Oh nope, they keep doing this. Okay, Rick and Tracy Khona are here, and so a lot of people ask me if that was their given names. And it's not. They're really actually known as Ramesh and Aruna. But when they both came here, one thing that was common for a lot of Indian Americans who were here sort of in the early 70s to do was to come up with a different name that would be easier for people to pronounce, which is part of why my given name is Cynthia. Because of just trying to find a name that would be easier for people here. So I'm Cynthia, and then my two sisters are Sharmali and Amisha. Oh, and this is our house. So we live really right around the corner here on Mandarin Road. You want to come back and sit down, Dad? And,
I turned my phone off. So
our house is just right around the corner here on Mandarin Road. And if you go behind the house and you walk and see the dock, when we first moved into our house in 1994, one of the things that struck us was all scattered throughout the backyard were all these random knickknacks. I remember just seeing a collection of spoons, and there was a big rig that was there and a boat, and we were really kind of trying to figure out what was going on, and that was because the maple leaf divers were diving off of our backyard. And so they would, whatever they found, they would just kind of put it on our backyard, and that's what they would use it for. So to give you a sense, oh, I keep doing this. So if you put my parents' address on Google Maps, that's where our house is. And then if you see where the shipwreck is, we literally, if I would tell people a lot, if you walked off our dock and just swam to the middle of the river and went straight down, that's where it is. So it's been an interesting part of our family's story, and the first several years that we lived there, the divers were always, going back and forth off of our backyard. So we're going to go back in time and start with my dad. Dad?
I don't look anymore like that.
Yeah. That's really, between me and my sisters, that's really one of my favorite pictures of Dad.
He's a movie star, right?
Yeah, I know. Doesn't he kind of look that way? So, born in 1939. And during World War II, had to move from Bombay to a more remote part of India. And so I'm going to give him a chance to talk about that story, about what prompted them to leave Bombay towards the end of World War II. So Dad, if you can use either microphone.
Yeah. Okay. I was basically born in the middle of the World War II, and just before I was born, there was an interesting story. Our house was almost like old Jacksonville, port area around the St. John's River, and the back of that. It was a big business hub. So all our community family lived there. And 1937 or something, during the middle of the war, German ship was docked in almost, you can say, about a mile from our house, and they're loaded with the gold. They were sending the gold to Japan to fight the war. And British people found out, and they bombed the boat. And imagine bombing the boat with full of gold bricks, and all the bricks are flying all over the town, about 100 feet, 200 feet our houses. Many people got the pre-gift. We were not that lucky, unfortunately, but many people. So that's a very amazing part of this World War. And then, middle of the war, because of all the bombing going on, my parents decided that we will move out of Bombay and go to our village to be safe side. So I spent about 5 years in Kutch. Our forefathers' village was there. And studied there in a school till about 2nd grade. And finally moved back to Bombay in 45 and started my regular school there. Then I studied in Matunga. I was born in Matunga. I went to school there and graduated in 57. I found somebody who was born almost close to that day. Then I graduated in 57. I went to college there. And I wanted to be engineer. And that time chemical engineering was not heard of in India that much. Very few, only one college was the teaching chemical engineering. And to get into engineering college was almost impossible. So a couple of my friends ventured out and they started moving to US to further study. So we got the whiff of it, me and my another good friend thought about the same idea. So in 63, end of the 63, we both came to US to study chemical engineering. I studied in New Mexico State, very nice place, and very, urban areas, very small town. Graduated from there and started working in Cabot Corporation, carbon black company. Many people wonder what's a carbon black. But if you see anything black, that's carbon black, including car tires. Car tires wouldn't be car tires without the black in it. The carbon black gives the strength to rubber. So I was worked at R&D for a year or two, and then decided that was not for me. I got so dirty every day. I come on, my shoes are dirty, floor dirty. And work was interesting, but not that much. So I decided to change the field, and luckily one of my friends, the people in that area of US, part of the Texas Panhandle, so friendly. They helped me find a good job with the gas company. I mean, people go out of way to help people there. You don't see that anymore, some part of the year. But Texas, some part of Texas, very friendly people. So I got a job in Pioneer Gas, started working in the pipeline business. And that's my career all the way through now. In that line, I went overseas, few places. Wherever there's oil and gas, I followed that. And it was good money there. So that's my life. Now, finally, is also an interesting aspect. During that, Reagan became a president of US. And he was going to teach Gaddafi lesson. So he bombed Libya where I was working. So then he called all Americans living in Libya to drop their job and come home. So you can say I was forced out of job by President of US. Come here in US and started a new life. And but soon after I moved to Jacksonville, and that's our home since last so many years. Actually, we are only very representative of the whole Jacksonville community. When we came here, there was probably about 10 to 15 people. Radhe Mittal is here. Stand up, Radhe. He is one of the pioneer of the Jacksonville.
Well, I came here in 1952. I mean, 52 years back, I came here in 1972.
And
Much before,
yeah. So that time, there was only 10, 15 families.
we were around 45.
Yeah. Now we are almost 3,000 people here, Jackson, Indian community. So we are just representing the whole group. We are not the only one. So just to summarize that.
Dad, can you talk a little bit about your ship travel?
Oh yes, when we are coming to US, that time it was novel to go to foreign country. Majority people in India always went to England. England was because England ruled India, people were familiar with England. So most people went to England and they primarily went for medicine. Nobody went for engineering anywhere. So that was just the timing that people were starting to come to US. When I came to US, you cannot imagine the whole US, there was less than 10,000 Indians family. There was no stores, no food available in India, nothing. Now there are probably 4 million or 5 million Indians in America, and they're here every time. Now one of the Indian ladies is going to be CIA chief. So see, the Indians have made a lot of progress. I came by the ship because it was a choice to either fly or take a ship. And it was kind of a novel idea because you take a plane, you sit there and about 12 hours back you are in the US. But we wanted to venture and travel, so me and my friend decided to come by the boat to US. So we took a boat. That time the boat travel was very popular and very economical, almost same price as airfare. So we decided to take that route around. Now I took the boat called SS Orsowa. It's a British line, P&O liner, comes from New Zealand, Australia, all over touching India, all Middle East. We went to Suez Canal, Europe, London, and then took another boat from London to US because my college timing was coming critical to start. So I took another boat, and it was United States, or USS United States. That was the fastest boat at that time. And that was an amazing experience. And then we landed in New York, middle of the snowstorm. And me and my friend, another very good friend of mine, he was going to Memphis, Tennessee, so I joined him to Memphis. And when Memphis, I stayed a day and then decided to go to Las Cruces, my college. That's also very interesting thing, how much people know about US geography. I got my ticket from India to come to New York by plane boat and then go from New York to my college by bus. So I went to the New York, we came to Memphis, Tennessee. And Memphis, Tennessee, I had a voucher to take another bus. So I went to the bus stop and said, my voucher. So he said, okay, you have to go to El Paso, then you have to go to Mexico City, and then I said, well, I'm not going out of US. He said, that's what the ticket says. So how much American Express and the Greyhound bus stop in New York knew about New Mexico or US geography. They almost kicked me out. But once I leave the country, we probably couldn't get back my visa, as student visa. So that's how people can be naive about geography. But that's a live and learn experience. We will learn a lot of things. And I am so happy and thrilled to be now part of Jacksonville community. And this experience is amazing. So I am so happy to share our experience with you. I will pass my wife.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about you, Dad. Okay. So, yeah. All right, Dad. So these are some old photos that we've unarchived. We really had a lot of fun getting ready for this presentation over the last month or so. Can you just tell us a little bit about, who are all of these people in this photograph?
Okay, one way on the extreme right is my grandfather. They were very typical classic Indian dress with a special Indian pagadi, we call it. It's a cap. In the middle of the white cap is my father, and behind that is my uncle, and this side the other uncle, and I am on the left, all the way to this side. And my younger brother there in the middle. And I probably was 10 or 12 when the picture was taken. This was taken during one of my sister's wedding. So whenever the family wedding comes, we always take a family photograph, go to the studio and do it. That photography was not heard of it. You have to go to studio, dress up, plan, a lot of planning goes into taking picture. So that's a memory from us.
All right.
Yeah. This is my family, female part of my
You have
family.
to keep your microphone here.
Yeah. In Indian culture, the man sits on one side of the room, lady sits on one side of the room. There's always a separate room for ladies to socialize and men to socialize. So same way, the picture-wise, there's a man picture, there's a female picture. And these are all my mother on the left on this side, my grandmother, my aunt, and my two little sisters in the middle. So there's another family picture at the wedding time. Okay, this is going back to our village in Kutch. These are the ladies, this is how you fetch water. For the daily need, you have to go to the well or the, what you call a tank or talab to fetch water. So you use water very sparingly because it's so difficult to get it. And it was generally ladies' job to do it. The hardest work, yes, the ladies get to do it.
And do we have any family in this picture?
Yes, most of our local community people in the town. My mother is in the middle. No, second from other side. Another, my aunt in the middle. And these other ladies are from the local in the Kutch, Sujapur. Okay, this is another historical picture. I was on the tour as a student to All India tour, and we were visiting President of India. This is the second President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. So we were so fortunate to visit his home called Rashtrapati Bhavan. It's like a White House. So I am there in the group taking picture of his, and I had some press photographer taking our picture. This is a very memorable event for me. This is going back to my college in New Mexico State. You see the whole bunch of kids there. When I came, there were probably 10 students, but when I left, there was almost a couple of hundred. So population grows pretty fast there. And that was just the influx, the starting of the Indian student coming to US for studies. in about late 60s. And we were on the friends of mine and all that in the ski area nearby our college called Rudoso Dam. So one very strange experience for us to see snow. In India, in Bombay or most of the part of India, they never snow. We don't see snow. But this was another experience for us. What's next? Okay. This is, of course, everybody knows this place, the Taj Mahal, the main popular. And this on the left, other one is called Gateway of India. It was built by King George V for his welcoming to India. He came to visit to India. So well-known architect, somebody, Frederick something, I missed the name. He built the Gateway of India. That's where the King George V landed. It's major attraction in Bombay.
And these are your photographs, Dad.
Yeah,
So
this is my photograph,
yeah,
yes.
so his early passion of photography. So Dad is our family photographer, and it's really a lot of fun to go back and see. These are personal photographs that he took.
Yeah. This is a happy hobby. But I basically got started at the very early stage of the photography. In India, taking pictures was not that easy. You take one picture very carefully, you spend a lot of time to compose the picture, think about it, and then only click it. Because every picture is precious, very expensive at the same time. Okay, this is the one picture on that side is my brother's wife. She had gone through the Indian Jain fasting season. She went the whole year with one day eating and one day not eating. One day eating only one time and one day not eating anything, just water. She went whole year. So this was the breaking her fast. And the picture on this side is my old village, Sujapur, where I spent about 3 years of my life. The rural people, I still go there and people are still so warm and they're ready to do anything. They cook all the good stuff. A simple house. This is my wife's story now.
So, all right, Mom.
My close friends are laughing at me. Did you look like that? You specimen.
But Mom, this is your picture when you were in, where are you? This is in what part of your life?
This is in high school and pre-med actually. Just before entering medical school. I was very simple. It's America made me non-simple person. I was born in Punjab, India, just like Florida is a state, Punjab is a state, in 1945. And then during wartime, we moved to Delhi from Punjab, New Delhi. That's where I went to high school. I went to medical college there, got my degree in New Delhi in 1968. In medical college, besides studying medicine, my major thing was drama, dancing, sports. My parents didn't know that that's what I was doing. So one day my dad told me, he found out somewhere because he came, in one day, I received 14 trophies for running, from sack fighting, for badminton. And I invited my father thinking he will be very proud of me. When he saw me, nobody in my class got that. I was getting trophy after trophy. He called me, he says, if you fail, that's the end of medical school. And that was a good, strong message. Parents were very highly educated. Mom was principal, father vice principal, but education was number one, not drama and dance, which I do now. And so then after I got my degree, I went did my internship in anesthesiology. And with that in hand, I came to America in Worcester, Massachusetts. And 1 year I did anesthesia. But it was different in India than it was here. There it was, I was the doctor doing that. Here, I found I was sitting on this side of the curtain, and I had rough time understanding the English. It was in New England English. Half of the thing they will eat, half they will talk. So I will be looking at surgeon's face. Is he telling me patient is blue or move? So I told it, he was chief, I told Dr. Croce, you should tell one assistant, write down, what do you want? More oxygen, more nitrogen, more what? But somewhere along the line, I started feeling my contact with the patient was very little. So started thinking I want to go where I want in touch with the patient and talk to them, and they feel good and I feel good. So I went to major medical residency, and then I came here, pediatric residency. I did 1 year John Hopkins as is just for surgery 1 year, but then I moved to Jacksonville and came here for residency in pediatric 2 years, and after that went to allergy residency fellowship, 1 year fellowship in Gainesville, 1 year fellowship in Denver, then returned back as a head of the department in Gainesville, Shands, for 8 years till the littlest was born. Then I moved back here. Started my practice. Almost, it has been close to more than 48 years I have been practicing, still practicing. But I have become very strong in alternative medicine now. Every patient knows what is turmeric, what is basil. What is turmeric, what is basil. And in between I tell them jokes. Really. The patients have become, he said Texas people are good. I found Jacksonville beautiful people, very friendly people, very nice, helping people. So my girls went to Bowles and they moved in their own direction.
I'm going to do the next
And I
picture.
still have the best patients in the town, really the best patients, okay? This is me, you can see, shot put. This is my 3rd year medical school. My classmate hated me. They say, you have come here to study or sports? And this is me, I went to town for modeling, I wanted to go to the movies. And really, I met an actor there too. And, but you know, then back in the mind was, dad says, if you fail, so next. This is, I'm doing the fundraising, and many people in India used to go on cart from one village to another village. Here I'm raising the fund in our medical college. Next. This is my first year here when I started practice. My first secretary stayed with me for 28 years. Never a day late, never stayed late. 5 o'clock out, she was there, good secretary. She became my faculty, you know, almost my family. Now I am a secretary. She is with me for 16 years, Sarah. When I get mad at her, she says, you're my mom. You don't get mad at your children, why at us? She's a good, very good person. Half of the time she is late. Half of the time she leaves early. In my youngest daughter's wedding, people thought she's my maid because she's taking everybody to the airport, coming back airport. She's a good person, very good, Sarah. I'm lucky. Next.
Yep. So just so interesting, just to point for a second, is that this is Mom's first practice, which was in what we call the Howard Building at Baptist. And the full circle is now, I'm in practice a couple buildings down from there at Baptist. So just a little bit about Mom and Dad. So Mom and Dad actually got married here in a second marriage for both of them. And all of the wedding festivities happened here in Mandarin. So this is one of our old friends, the Swanee's house, which was still there, right off of Beauclair. And so this was their wedding. That's my middle sister there applying henna to my mom's hand. And, in those early days of the 70s and 80s, when really there weren't very many Indian families here, and there really weren't very many immigrant families overall, we all kind of bonded together. So, we went to the Greek festival. I remember going to lots of Cuban festivals. There were so few immigrant families, we all kind of pooled together. And so a lot of our celebrations, happened in each other's homes. So this was some dancing that happened before my parents' wedding. And then this was Dad as the groom. We kind of improvised an Indian outfit because we didn't really have anything here. So I think we even borrowed that headdress from our Lebanese friends.
This lady is a belly dancer.
We improvised the entertainment and everything. It's not like the Indian weddings that you sort of know about today, these big Bollywood weddings you see. Everything was really kind of DIY back then. But yeah, this was
belly dancer.
Yes, but that was my parents' wedding back in 1982. So as we were kind of getting ready for today, we were kind of reminiscing. What was it that brought people to Jacksonville? And so as we kind of went through the list of all of our family friends and some of the things that they did here, medicine was one of the really big pulls. Dad told us about how at one point Westinghouse had proposed a nuclear plant that was going to be here, and a lot of people who had a background in nuclear engineering came to Jacksonville as part of this proposed plant. The railway industry is very big in India. It was the primary mode of transportation for a long time. So when CSX was up and coming here, there were a lot of people who came straight from Indian Railways to work at CSX. People who were architects. We had a lot of folks who were part of Haskell and W.W. Gay, Blue Cross Blue Shield. So that was really kind of the 70s and 80s.
University of Florida.
Yep. And then in the 80s and 90s, as the IT industry was growing here, we had kind of the next wave of Indian immigrants who came and would work directly with AT&T. A lot of them came to work in Johnson & Johnson in the contact lens business that was kind of growing off of JTB.
UNF all professors, practically all, they were my patient. Because husband used to be out of town, many of them used to change my car tire. Oh, give me your key, they will take my car, change the oil, bring. Friendly people, very friendly. And even Indian friends sitting here, they have become like brother and sisters, really. They are there when you need them, neighbors. When you need them, they are there. And so that's how I felt in Mandarin Road too when we moved here in 1994.
And Sam is too with a lot of American friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kathy Monkey is one example. Radhe, of course, there are so many.
Miss Monkey, I know her forever. I don't know if she's a friend or what, but she's there. She is there anytime I need her. Indian friends, you call them, they are there like that. My secretary, you call her, she is there even with her car, without car, her whole family that comes. What you need. So very lucky, very lucky.
Just showing again a little bit of how the cultural society and we grew here in Jacksonville. So in the beginning, Diwali, which is our big Indian New Year, we would celebrate starting in people's homes. These were little celebrations that happened. We ended up creating an organization called the Indian Cultural Society, which is going to be close to celebrating its 50th year soon. And so we would do dances and performances in the local high schools here. A lot were done at Wolfson, Jacksonville Country Day, the Moroccan Temple. And then a lot of things we did were just things that everybody else did. So these are my dad's parents, coming to the U.S. And to visit us in Florida for the first time, having an experience at our Jacksonville beach. These are my mom's parents with my sister Charmaline and going to visit the Castile in St. Augustine. And this was us on what used to be the old river walk, going around in those early days of Jacksonville. So a lot of what we did was similar to what everybody else did around here. This is the first Indian temple that was built here, as we were talking about on Greenland Road. Really the thoughts and the ideas for it began in the late 1980s and kind of came to fruition. I think it took maybe about 10 years to get it going, but this is what it looks like today. It's continuing to grow and expand. And now there are many other houses of worship here in Jacksonville. So representing other religions as well. There's a mosque here now. There's a Swami Narayan and a Sai Baba temple. And so as the cultural diversity is growing in Jacksonville, so are their religious options. And there are other cultural societies that have begun to spring up to represent all the different parts of India. So I'll end with where we are now, this generation. So all of us, my three sisters were all American born. And we have all gone to different parts. This was us before we moved to Mandarin. We used to live in the Baymeadows community, right there off of Baymeadows Road. So this was our condo before we moved over here. This was when I graduated from high school. I'm still friends with my friend Manisha, who's all the way there on the right. So interestingly, we both graduated from Bowles together. We both are now practicing oncologists at Baptist, and we were spending today talking about a patient together. So we've kind of had a community that stayed here for a long time. My sister, as she grew up, these are my mom's two sisters who came to visit. And then we've all gotten married. So this is me with my husband. We got married last year. These are my two children, Asha and Ajay, who also both graduated from Bowles. And now I'm a practicing radiation oncologist at Baptist. I've been there for 17 years now. Interestingly, after graduating from high school here, I went to college at the University of Chicago and studied political science. And then I worked in Washington, D.C. for a little while before deciding to go to medical school. And then I went to medical school at Emory and stayed there for training. And decided to come down here and have been here since then. This is my middle sister, Charmely's wedding. This was up in Connecticut, and that's where they live now.
All the kids are grown up.
And this is my youngest sister's, Amisha's wedding. And this was her wedding in Tennessee, which they just celebrated their 10th wedding anniversary. And just to kind of show you, as often happens with immigrants, one family comes and that becomes the beginning of other families coming. So just about every person in this photograph is now a U.S. citizen. And these are all of our extended cousins and their children living all over the United States. Wow.
So until 9th grade, there was no electricity where I grew up. There was no refrigerator. This is the refrigerator where you put water in, and by morning it's cold as the ice. It's made with clay. We have another pot made with clay. We will cook whole night food in that. So all the nutrients will come from the clay. I still use this in my kitchen. And then we saw first time electricity, wow. Daytime mom will say, go on the roadside under the light, take your books there, come home when the sun sets. And it was happiness, a lot of happiness, good memories, really good memories. Family values a lot, no babysitter, no nursing home. And we have friends here. They have become like sisters and brothers to us.
Like I said, we are just a representative of the whole Indian community.
Yeah.
There's a big community here.
Any Indian want to say anything, stand up and say.
Or if anybody has any questions. So this was the end of our slideshow, so if anybody has any questions.
Radha, you want to say something? No. He has a lot of history. He's an architect. He knows all about old buildings, new buildings.
one of these days we'll sit and talk about it. We started the India Culture Society in 1972.
Yeah.
In 1972, we celebrated our first Diwali at JU, so.
Oh yes, you played Ramayana.
So a little bit,
We like Mandarin very
We are
much.
so grateful that
really.
Jacksonville community has
Mandarin
accepted
Rd.
us as their friends, community, so we are so grateful.
I have a question. So, of course, I'm born and raised in the United States. I can never imagine what it's like to leave your home country and go somewhere completely foreign, and you're not fully fluent in the language, and you don't know many people there. And can you speak to how that feels, and did it take a certain amount of courage, and did you learn a lot about yourself?
Yeah, the education in college time was in English, but family was like this. 10 people, 1 bathroom, 2 bedroom, all brother sister in 1 bedroom, all other parents in 1 bedroom, kitchen 1 table. You take bath, you are happy, contented. Language was English. So when I came here, I still remember first year when I came to Worcester. By morning, my pillow will be wet. I used to cry and cry and cry, and mommy and daddy and cry and cry. Didn't have cell phone, so we'll book a call them while crying, mostly crying. So we went home very often. It was expensive. Now we go a lot. With my specialty, I started going sometime for 6 weeks. I will go, and the people will say, "What happened to your patients?" I said, "They all get better."
No, but I tell you, when, like what you asked, it's like coming to the country where we didn't know anybody. We don't know any culture, we don't know their system, their language. We knew the English, but that English we knew was a British English. And here we say, and not people don't understand, they keep looking at your face. What are you saying? But we went through all that gyration. But when we came here, the people of this country are accepted us so well. I can example my college day here. When I was in my college, the professors were almost like become like our host families. They accepted us, we went to their house, they invited to their house. They treated us like their family. Anytime we babysit their kids, when they go away somewhere. So the New Mexico, I went to college, the people are very extremely friendly. People are so friendly that we didn't, so many, of course, there are a couple of my friends who came from India, they stayed here a couple of weeks, they couldn't take it. They flew back, they just left everything, went back. They couldn't take the cultural of the missing their family. But the people here made us so welcome. So we are accepted and we felt so much like home. So even though we miss our family, but we were not so badly missing our family. The local family was become our families. My college professors, so helpful. You tell them you have the problem and they will solve it, no problem. One time my head of department, I was in New Mexico, which is a relatively small college. And one time I was talking to my professor, said, I'm leaving this college and going to Houston. He said, why? I said, this college is so small, I don't have any opportunity to do any work. He said, no problem, you want to work? I'll give you work. Just like that, people are so friendly to accommodate you. So you didn't really feel like so bad. It was not like the original when the Columbus came. It was hostile, it was very friendly. We are so fortunate.
We feel very sad when some family members back home become sick, or when I lost my parents. I wasn't there right away. It was gone 2-3 days later. Or somebody is sick, you can't say, okay, let me go and visit them. That it does feel inside a lot.
Well, there is our one neighbor, our front yard in front, she lives right our neighborhood, Mrs. Mukes. Mrs. Mukes, stand up. People know you well. You've been here for so many months and years, your husband and you.
Very nice people, very nice.
No, are there any other questions? Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, there are more questions. What, another question? Right, go ahead. Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
I have so many questions. I could
Yeah.
stand here all night asking. So when you all came to the United States, it was primarily for job opportunities.
Higher education,
Higher
higher education.
Are you finding that there's still the same number of young people wanting to emigrate to the United States, or are there growing opportunities in higher education?
You can, like I said, when I came, there was 10,000 Indians here. Now there are at least 5 million. So, because the local culture, local education, and the system is so accommodating, more people want to come here for the opportunity and the education. Mainly the first education, then the opportunity. Radhe came here.
Suman, you want to say something?
I came here for higher education and a job.
Higher education.
Yes, sir.
I really thank you for, you have a great history, and it's a lot of it. I know I came a few years later, a few years younger, but we have many of your experiences were still there, and you are a pioneer. And I thought we are pioneers still coming 10 years later, but true. I heard a few people came by ship. At that time, flights from India to here did not exist yet. Okay, they just started in 1961, 62, 63, and a few people came by ship. You are all really pioneers. Thank you. And I have, my background is engineering. I have similar experience as some of you have it. We all came from education back then. Later on, different education, technical education, then other education, then nowadays a lot of IT and other fields are coming because of the employment opportunities. Thank you.
One more question.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I have a question too. Well, no, it's not a question, but I just want to say that it's embarrassing that I'm very ignorant about Indian food. And I really, really appreciate that you all prepared that food for us to try tonight and to learn about the Indian food sources and so forth. Everything was wonderful. And
Some people have a feeling Indian food is hot.
Yeah.
Not really, it is spicy. Many, many spices. They put taste to the food. But you can make it hot, or you can have mild and no red pepper. So it all depends, and we like to eat hot. That's me. Many Indian majority, they do like to eat hot. But spicy, all of them, they eat spicy. Spicy doesn't mean hot. That means basic ingredient is ginger, garlic, onion, and then our spices, cumin, coriander, those kind of things, and turmeric and everything. Turmeric.
Well, thank you very
Yeah.
much.
So,
Yeah, wait.
go ahead.
One other thing about the spices, most of the Indian spices are medical value. They are basically a medicine. So we consume every day little bit, and keeps you healthy. So now more and more people are learning about it. Every spice has medical value. Like turmeric, people are obviously know now. Ginger has become so popular because ginger is also very valuable health-wise. So garlic, of course, there's so many spices are now coming through the system, like basil. Basil is one of the very prime plant in India. People worship the basil, people eat it because there's a lot of spice, very health value. So many spices, all spices have medical value, like cumin, everything. Yes, sir.
No, I was going to say holy basil.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Holy basil.
Yes, holy basil.
Well, we Americans, it's like, good God, we have a little oregano, a little garlic, a little basil, whatever, it's pathetic, quite frankly. And, this is very interesting because we are in zone 9, in the, agricultural zone of growing, and what's really interesting, I haven't had time to garden in a while, but I bought some turmeric from the grocery store, like from Whole Foods, that had been refrigerated and whatever. I took it, I planted it, And I want to tell you something, it barely took anything. I don't know why turmeric is not the #1 crop in our zone in Florida, because it has grown like a weed, and it's like it produced these beautiful flowers, and then, you know, the greenery kind of dies, and then you dig up the little tuber things or whatever, but it's the same for ginger. And so everybody needs to just go to the grocery store and get some ginger and turmeric and stick it in the, you know, your garden or whatever, and I swear to God, you don't have to go to Publix again to get a little bit of ginger when you're making something, you know, to eat.
Brittany, you had a question
I
too?
did, so please tell us, you know, I do love Indian food, and but for those who don't have a lot of experience eating Indian food and they want to visit a restaurant locally, where would you send them? What restaurant?
Yeah,
Baymeadows
really,
Road.
it's Baymeadows Road at this point. Yeah,
Is there
you
a
know,
favorite though on Baymeadows Road?
There
you
is
know,
one here in Mandarin Masala.
yeah, masala is one of our favorites. Yeah, but you know, Indian cuisine is
Masala means spice.
yeah. Indian cuisine is so different, you know, for all the different regions, and now we have such a variety that kind of represents all the different quadrants of India. Yeah.
So what would
But
be-
just to bring to that point, American food habits have changed over the time. When I came to this country, people hardly use any spice. Even Mexican food was very sparse. Only when I went to college, New Mexico, and few places in Texas, only had Mexican food. Not even in New York. I went to New York in 1964. There was not a single Mexican restaurant in New York. Imagine that. Now, see the Mexican place every little town. Because American habit has changed. They are getting more and more used to the spicy or maybe hot food eating. So it's developed, it's just growing up slowly. But turmeric and other spice, you use pinch, very pinch, small in your cooking every day. And it just keeps the immunity building up in your body. It's just not that you eat as a medicine, one big spoon. Just a pinch every day and slowly build up in your immunity.
Any other questions?
Maybe we can have some cooking classes.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm not stuck on cooking. But the Oriental Market on St. Augustine Road and whatever, if you want to get fresh, you know, everything at great prices, that place has really expanded their fresh produce or whatever you want. And so if anybody who are into cooking, that's the place to go.
And one last question. When you were on the boats, like you were taking boats like they were buses from, you know, India to England to the United States, how long was the duration of your journey, start to finish?
Normally the boat trip, typically those days, took about anywhere about 25 days from Bombay to New York. But due to my college time started, I had to take this kind of American Express was helping us. So they arranged our trip such a way so we can be in the time for my college. So I came from Bombay to London through Marseille, Italy, and by train to London, and next day boat from London to New York, and quickly back to my college in time. Because that it takes a lot of good thing you asked me. My first experience of eating with a fork was first time. I didn't know how to use fork. And my boat was coming from English, this British boat. They have all kind of cheese and variety food. We being vegetarian, very limited choice, practically none. Only choice they had was spaghetti. And they use spaghetti and a fork. Imagine, if you don't know how to use fork, how would you eat spaghetti? We really couldn't figure out how to eat spaghetti. So finally somebody said, you chop it up a small piece and just cook it. But that's how we learn. So good experience, we learned. There were so many cheese because the ship was coming from New Zealand, Australia. They're full of cheese. And I have no idea what cheese is. We go to close by the ship and it smells. I said, wow, people eating this thing. And now that it was like a sweet to them. For us, it was totally novel. They have no idea what cheese is. We never eaten cheese in my life.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for coming. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all. And are there any leftovers? And if there are, please no one eat them because I'm going to take them home.